Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio. You are about to join a frequency that will open your mind, expand your heart, and activate your spirit. Thank you for joining Kelly Meehan, Spirit Baby Medium and Master Energy Therapist. Kelly believes in the power of the Spirit Baby. She speaks with babies in spirit before life, in the womb, and after life. She supports, teaches, and guides others to tune into the intuitive and mystical parts of life for greater wisdom. Join her in meeting your soul baby and build your connection and relationship with deep love and trust. Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio with your host, Spirit Baby Medium, Kelly.
Welcome to episode 104, January 8th, 2021. Happy New Year! And beyond Spirit Baby 101, Reboot, Alignment, and Communication. Are you happy to have made it to 2021? What is your next energies to build and create with Spirit Baby? What new intentions and healing do you want to receive? I feel like I just did this podcast right on Christmas, right? It was December 25th, 2020, and now we are in 2021. And has the information really changed over the weeks? Not so much, right? It's like, where are you at? What's happening? Wherever you are in the world, I know that there's so much energy still in this pandemic consciousness, this physical world experience, and which is deeply emotional and deeply spiritual experience. And I hold grace, love, peace, and open to heart awareness for all of you out there that are continuing to feel pushed up against many different experiences, not just within your own inner world, but also your outer world and where you exist in your outer world. And as I said, beyond Spirit Baby 101, what do I even mean by that? I do feel like many of those that are tuning in, I know you're all pros at this. And I laugh because you're probably going, oh my gosh, maybe, what is she saying? Is that possible? You are. I do feel like there's such a different awareness around Spirit Baby, especially if you've been tuning in to Spirit Baby Radio over the many years. You know, you can even see how it's been rechanged, restructured, recreated, and how it's continually moving all the time. And as I shared, I believe in the last podcast, as I say that, it really brings into my mind now this thought of how we are so evolving and changing. And I know there's such a contrast right now, right? There's one side that feels very conformist, right? The word conformist and the word nonconformist are really real things. And there's even a psychology of conformity. And it's quite fascinating. I found it very fascinating because we need nonconformists in our world. We do. We need them. And some people will call them, well, they're the ones that are acting out. They're being risky. They don't care. But the nonconformists are the creative, are the typically a lot of times are the artistics, musicians, people that are going outside the norm, people that are really pushing. And we can even look at even the timelines of history when people were dancing, right? It was like, oh my gosh, you don't go out and dance like that, and that's not appropriate. From the 50s to the 60s and the whole hippie generation, it was like those were the nonconformists of that time. And as we know, there are continuously nonconformists. And I want to give, love and a shout out to wherever you are on this journey of conformity or nonconformity, and to know where you are, who you are. And as always, I do feel like it comes back to the body below the neck. That's my new thing. I've been like, what is this? We're living neck and up, because I do it. I'm not saying shame on you for living neck and up, but it's so easy with technology, especially, to get enchanted by living in the neck and up. And so are we just these floating heads of consciousness, or do we have a rest of our body that really speaks to us, that really has a story? And how do we listen to the story? And it's so different from my perspective, right? Because I do call myself a medical intuitive, Spirit Baby Medium, and the medical intuitive part isn't some fantasy or some, oh, it's so sweet, medical intuitive. It's a very real deep craft of connection. And those that have connected me more privately in a session know and understand the depth of that craft and the things and information, again, in the story of the body that I get to witness. And sometimes things are generational too, right? Whether it's autoimmune cancers, tumors, genetic issues, we hold these different things that are a part of us. And there is a physiological resonance to it. But there's also a deeply psychological and energetic, I would say, cosmo connection as well. And you get to work from that space. It's not just, I'm going to think positive, I'm going to move into this manifestation. It's a full-on creative process, right? And maybe you're on a journey and you're questioning your spirit baby connection. Maybe you're in fertility, not infertile, and you are just so taken back by it. It's like it's everything you think of, it's everything that you breathe, it's everything that you're part of. That is okay. I tell women when they're coming to me, it's okay to be obsessed sometimes, right? I give permission for obsession, but my but is you have to watch that obsession, right? You have to watch, is this healthy, or have I gone into this other deep place of overthinking, mental energy? Is the fear so catastrophic? And so you are on a fertility journey, and maybe you're just like, why isn't this working? And what's happening? My baby's talking to me and getting clear messages. Don't begin to build a wall of distrust around baby energy if it feels like there's failed experiences in conception, a missed cycle, or even a fail of IVF and going, or maybe even an embryo adoption that's not, that didn't become a part of you, or maybe it's your own, ovum and sperm experience and, it's not becoming a part of you. It doesn't mean baby's not willing to be born. And there's so many different elements to that. And this is why I love really supporting people, because I'm actually quite surprised many times, because I get these aha moments with people and confirmations. It's like, I'll go into the body, like with that medical intuitive stuff. All right, let's just hang out in the sacral. I like to, let's hang out in the sacral in the womb space. And I notice that the people, obviously, when they're working with me more, their energy is very synergistic. I get to see more. They feel comfortable. And so I'm looking around, like, what's this information? What's the answer? Where's the preparation? Because it is important to get this kind of outside, perspective. And I really like to bring it back to the self-empowerment. So let's say you're on a fertility journey. You're the conception, bringer inner. I'm like fertility goddess, for the fertility warrior, the fertility creatrix, the fertility hero, the fertility light. I would even provoke you if you're on this conception journey, and fertility may feel very far away, because you may feel like, oh my gosh, I have low ovarian reserve, my levels are not good, I have endometriosis, all these things you're working against, it feels like. But there are ways to work with it, and many, I definitely promote the holistic connection, because what happens is all this energy, like especially if you're working with issues, right? You're working with a lot of energy of your past, and sometimes even before that of the past, sometimes ancestral, sometimes past lives, which are two different things. And so you're working with a lot of pieces, and you don't always have to have every single answer to know, well, if I have this, then it equals this. You just have to know enough of what it is. And this is why in a more of a private space, I do feel like, giving what is this conscious being that's here before me with her baby or babies, and what are we all building together? What would they like to share with her? And what does her body want to speak about too? It's like that is a really big piece. And then you get to kind of go into your inner garden of love, of fertile love, and then nourish it and nurture it. And, that does sound very dreamy and very poetic, because you are this inner poetic, vibrating energy force of a lot of experiences. And so I challenge you, it could be fun, what is your 2021 fertility name? Is it the goddess, the warrior, the creatrix, or even maybe something else comes up? I actually would love if you were to message me on Instagram at Spirit Baby Medium. And when I post this particular episode, it would be fun to hear, what is your fertility name? Like, what can you come up with? What does it feel like? And we know in 2021, I went to a book club with my dearest friend, and she was like, what is your word for this year? And I was like, oh, everybody has a word, right? I had a word last year, and I think I had a word before that. And this year, it was very hard for me to find a word. And then I found multiple words. So I thought, multiple words is great. And so other people, had one word or, again, multiple words. So it took me a while. At first, I was like, I don't have a word. What does that even mean? So in 2020, my word in January 2020 was compassion. because last January in 2020, I woke up very sick on vacation, right on the cusp of New Year's and New Year's Day, and I had this mysterious lung infection, which kind of sounds familiar, and it was very weird to me because it was this 3-day fever and just nothing else. And then I had also other issues, very mild issues, but I didn't have my typical, I get a sore throat and a cold, but it was like, what is this thing? And it knocked me down for quite some time. And then I was like, I'm healthy, but I wasn't, because then I got sick again with another infection, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm not healthy. So I thought compassion is like the best word for what I needed. It was like took so much energy because I'm on the go. I have small children. I have a business. I have a life. And then, and I'm proud I picked that word. It's nice to reflect that. So if you had a word from that, you really reflect on it and really feel, was I really available for this intentional word, this power word that I created? And so I'm going to share with everybody, be kind of vulnerable right now. What is my word for 2021? And again, it took me days, and then I realized it was softness. And I was like, I like that, because I am doing a lot of somatic psychological work for myself, and doing this amazing program and being part of other amazing things in that field, which I will then offer, connecting with others through my own experience to bring in the somatic work, the autonomic nervous system work, that connection to the body and body awareness, also with fertility and even with spirit baby energies. It's like, it's all, I feel like, beautifully intertwined. And so my other words, so then I was like, softness. Okay, we're going to go. I don't know what that means yet. We'll see how it unfolds. The other word I realized I came up with was softness and mystery. I was like, oh gosh, why did I choose the word mystery? I was like, why did that come up? So then of course I had to Google it. I was like, what does Google say that means? And I was like, okay, it could be kind of positive or kind of unknown. It feels a little uneasy. But then I go, wow, we have been in such an unknown time, right? In such a stronger way. We still are. And life is very full of unknowns. There's no promises or guarantees. And that's okay, because I feel like when I say that, people get scared. But life is meant to be lived. It is meant to be full of risks. It is meant to be full of inner freedom. It's meant to be exploratory, and you're meant to be on a self-discovery onto where you are. And yes, that does include fear. And the fear can be very crippling, damaging, hypnotizing. But, you work with it. I feel like the best way, give you some advice to work with fear, is to not push it away. Number one, that could be really good, right? Don't push it away. It may be really difficult and unbearable and painful, but what is its story, and what is it connected to? Is there anxiety in there? Is there depression? What is that piece? Because I know when I do one-on-one work with people, I keep coming back to that, because I do get to see the story and what is this, this other piece, and it's sometimes it needs more and more space to unwind. And so number one, that would be, bring it in. But feel safe about it, maybe feel supported, but also community. I feel like these are the two top big things with fear. Who is your community? Who is your like-minded people? Are you being held up by them? Are you allowed to be authentic with your words and how you feel, even if it's a contrast to what someone else feels, senses, or understands? Because you are the inner queen, the inner king of your own embodiment. And that's not egotistical to say. It really is, you are your source. You are your light. You are, you can be connected to other dimensional experiences and other higher forces, but you begin where you begin, and where you end is another mysterious question, right? Because if there's the ongoing of who we are consciously, but this cell of body in this world is very different. And so where you are, connecting with those fears, again, being a part of them, getting community, whether that's in a group, a book club, therapy. I feel like there's so many types of groups, and I know I have 2 birth loss groups right now, and I always imagine there'd be another one. And healing circle, the afterlife of spirit baby, and this is specifically around grief, ritual, spirit baby, kind of mentorship space. As well as another group is the love circle, the afterlife of spirit baby. And now I feel inspired, what about the heart circle? I feel like people are wanting to come in and build energy around that heart circle, and maybe there's more to that, and maybe that's coming into creation. That literally now in this moment in this podcast, it's being birthed it's its ovum right now. It's its embryo. And now maybe it's going to become something over the months and labored into becoming more available, because I do feel like community is crucial for New World energy, right? New World living, being. And I know, again, I'm going to bring back to the contrast that some people can see through the lens of the world as super negative right now, that it's falling apart and that it's catastrophic. I don't know if catastrophic's a word, but it could feel like, beyond overwhelmed. But is that the perception you see, and is that the energy you want to live in and be a part of? And it's not about denial, it's not about ignoring, but there is other possibilities, other energies for New World living with other kind of vibrations. That's not just about moving into caveman days and back to the earth, but really allowing new nature world connection also with the artificial intelligence, with our technological advancement. So we get to have both, but because we're supposed to have both, and that's how we're moving consciously. We're not supposed to go back and live under a tree and, get rocks and, and go back to, again, caveman time. We're supposed to kind of merge these two worlds, but it's a very delicate process. And I feel like right now there's a clashing. There's a clashing of one world and this world, and they're just bumping and beating each other up, continuously bumping into each other. And so what in that world will fertility look like? What is the journey? And this is why if you're on a fertility journey, conception journey, I feel like it's so valuable and so powerful to be in nature, natural world, and also this is why I love holistic stuff, acupuncture, herbs, and then in that you can do IVF if you have to, or other hormones or other chemicals that you're, certain chemistries that you're working against that you need support with, or even intervention from medical or midwives through birth. And of course, we can definitely go into the conversation of over-intervention, and that does absolutely exist. But if these smaller, like once you move into more of an embodiment state, you can see how these pieces of your journey and how you can still bring a natural world connection into the synergy of getting technological support. Because, a lot of people do come with me on an IVF journey, and IVF is a miracle, really. I know people talk about the miracle of life, but that's incredible. If you really sit and look at that piece of science that can be so powerful and beautiful, and of course there's very contradicting information because it's not natural conception, but there's no shame or embarrassment or fear just because it's unnatural or it's not natural in the sense of, you know what I mean, like the natural sense of it. But there are ways to still use that powerful modality of conception. And I do feel like, maybe there is over IVF for people. Absolutely. I mean, there could be, it's kind of like cesarean births. Yeah, there's way too many. But what is it on the conscious level of humanity that's so scared of their bodies? It's so scared to bring life into this world because it's a level of death in that. And that's another conversation. Maybe we'll save that for the end of the month, the birthing of spirit baby in this world, vaginal birth, medicated birth, cesarean birth. Ooh, that could be a great episode. That'll be 105. And so you're on this journey, and again, intermixing natural world connection and, the advancement, the intelligence of science in a more spiritual, energetically aligned way. And so I feel like, as I say, new world, right, energy, and I really like that. I really like that new world. I feel like we're all kind of, some people are in labor pains, we'll say, we'll use the birth model in the world, right? There's the conception, and then there's the pregnancy. I feel like we're in pregnancy now, maybe, and then maybe the labor pains are coming on what this kind of new kind of connection is. And again, remembering that you are creating your world based on how you interact with it and what you expect from it. And so maybe you are questioning what your next steps are on that conception journey. And of course, this is why I love that I offer this year. And I don't know if it will be offered again or what that will look like if it's live. And so a rare opportunity, and this starts tomorrow, is 8 weeks called Sacred Embryo, Communication Begins the Deeper Journey. And I love it because it's about intuition, quantum energy, conception, energy medicine, reproductive, medical intuitive stuff, as well as spirit baby, communication practices, the heart healing and birth loss, loss of fertility, all these different pieces put together. I just feel like for 8 weeks you really get a lot of me, actually, to really shift and change the energy. And there's something I feel like, not that I have some magical power, but I do have, it makes me laugh, I do kind of have it in with the spirit baby energies and the soul to soul awareness. And I try to say that humbly, because I don't feel like I'm any magical person, but I just feel like let's just say I have an agreement with that world, and I know how to hear and bring that connection to people in really powerful, extraordinary ways. And it just, this is where I want to write the book, right? This is the book that's still in the ether. It's trying to be written to just show people your sense of empowerment and how what's being unlocked and what's being created in the awakening of a journey into bringing spirit babies, soul children into this reality, into this world. And, your journey on that. And maybe you're in pregnancy and it was hard to get to that pregnancy, or maybe your pregnancy is dark night of the soul, or maybe your pregnancy is magic and beauty, and maybe it's a little bit of everything. And, even in this time, let's say you're in pregnancy, it's so amazing. If you are, congratulations, you deserve it. You are meant to be a mother. You're meant to be a father. You're meant to be a part of that connection. And there's so much mystery in that, because you don't know what's going to kind of unfold. You're just listening. And this is the beauty of inner listening. It's like, what are you listening to with your body even before pregnancy? Or sometimes you get a quick course in that and you're just shifted right into it, thrown right into it. And then you're questioning, oh my gosh, this is happening. And baby has so much to say. They become quite chatterboxes at times. And then you're building a connection even more. Your frequencies are in alignment. You're moving through the trimesters. And then you're coming up to the, to the edge there of birth. You're like, oh, this is happening. What does the birth look like? How is my body going to be? And what is this whole other rebirth into becoming another part of myself? And then you enter it. You show up for it. And you never know how pregnancies go. Sometimes there is loss. And sometimes there is not very happy births. And sometimes there's great births and home births and center births and hospital births that feel like synergistic and supportive. And we do want to really be conscientious that baby's not just coming through. It's like you and baby are working together. And I wish there was more awareness around that. There's a lot of great, birthing from within and all these different pieces that really, maybe the Bradley method, I don't know much about that, hypnobirthing. There's all these different modalities and tools which are really helpful. But ultimately, we have our own inner kind of genetic physiology and our own psychic awareness, our own consciousness. We actually know how to birth. We don't need instructions. What happens is, because we're very highly intelligent beings, that we create obstacles around that. And so what happens is, this is why coming back to the body, natural world awareness living, healthy, high vibrational foods, spending time in relaxation for your nervous system, it brings in natural world awareness. And you deserve that, especially in pregnancy, right? It's so deserving, even beyond pregnancy. But, in pregnancy, there's so much happening. There's so much coming together and being open to birth life into this world. And I always feel like there's so much, even when I say that now and I connect energetically, I feel like there's so many sparkles of light just kind of beaming into possibilities, into life here to come, to awaken, to connect, because that rush of energy of pregnancy, it shifts the heart space, it shifts the sacral, it's so expansive. And that could bring up negative and positive feelings. Or even if there's loss, sometimes, there could be a journey where there's multiple loss, right? And it's like, oh, heartache after heartache after heartache. And I would definitely encourage to connect with my page called Birth Loss. And on the Birth Loss page, I've tried to separate, I think I need to add more, of all the episodes that I've done that are more birth loss specific. So you can kind of binge listen to create energy around the healing. I feel like that's it. I also have a 4-week series on miscarriage to conception, or working with spirit baby to just kind of clear energies, resettle, like where are you going? Because miscarriage is not just physiological. There's definitely an emotional and spiritual piece in there, and that's so important. Now, I'm talking about conception, pregnancy, getting a little bit of loss energy in there, and not to even leave out the loss of termination, which is, termination is for many reasons, and there's, a huge loss in that as well. And also major levels of healing that is being asked. And I've also done an episode or two on that topic for the request of those out of curiosity and needing that kind of level of spirit baby awareness. And so spirit baby in conception, spirit baby in pregnancy, or I feel like soul child, and child of light in healing loss. There's so many different ways. And as I challenged you earlier on a fertility journey, to find your creative, beautiful, loving name and attach that to your word. Because this is your time. This is the time. This is like a huge splitting open of so many different levels of energy. Even if you've gone on I don't care if you've gone a 5-6 year journey and you're like, this is not happening. I almost want to say, really sit down, go deep inward. Don't get lost in all the control of the thought or what it is. You feel your baby, there's a connection, and that has to be trusted and cultivated. That trust is not just going to show up. If you're a person that doesn't trust a lot of people or trust your life, guess what? It's going to be really hard to trust anything with baby energy. And it's the deeper listening, the non-expectation that's going to be of great value. And so spirit baby, communication practices, change it up. As you are, let's say you are in pregnancy, what is your baby's nickname? Create nicknames with baby energy like you did if you're in fertility, in conception, creating that name, that power word. Coming into pregnancy, let's say you're in pregnancy, what is your baby being's name? Baby light, peanut, ladybug, Jackie, I don't know why I said that. Whatever it is, really sweet, loving, connecting names in that space are very supportive. And that could be fun with your intentional energy or your intentional word for the year. And of course, I'm not going to leave out birth loss. Let's say you're in multiple miscarriage or you've had a stillbirth, which is, a bit different. Maybe you're still working towards conception, so still creating that fertility energy. And even going into, babies, you can create nicknames for babies as well in that level. But also shifting here just for a moment into stillbirth loss. And, or even I feel like I would put stillbirth energy loss with infancy loss. So coming into this world, having eyes open for a moment, and then either here for days or weeks. And so these particular two energies, your child of light, I would, see what your 2021 intentional bonding energy is. What is this deeper connection? Are you open and willing to create it? I almost feel like not to be in waste of it, which sounds kind of confusing, but to really be able to find your inner mentor. What is this experience about for you? And of course, it's loss, it's grief, and there's a lot of confusion. But underneath the layers of that, there's more to the story, because the sentient conscious being has some deeper connection with you, and you get to see what that looks like, what that feels like. You get to journal with it, you get to dance with it, you get to cry horrendously with it, you get to scream with it, you get to create art with it, you get to be inspired by it, you get to some days feel completely uninspired, because it's an experience that happened and there's no going back in time. And so where are you now presently and where your energy moves you forward is really the guiding lights, the inner mentor. And this is why I do offer the Afterlife Spirit Baby groups and even the Facebook group, because there's synergy between the women in that group too, mostly women. And they understand you. They have an experience. And of course, everybody is very different, but the commonality of loss is similar. And so bringing that connection, your baby being, even what was their, I shouldn't say what was their name, what is their name? So we always do that with death, right? Who were they? What was, I feel like those are all just words. Because even with like my mom and my brother who have passed away, I don't say, like I talk about my brother sometimes with people, like, oh yeah, this is his name, or this, yeah, he did this kind of work, or that's him. But I don't want to say like that's who he was, or that's, I don't know, but I guess it really depends on what you feel right with. You could get over wordy, but you do want to kind of own that your child in light is with you, and your son, your daughter, they have a name, maybe they have a nickname, and you can even intertwine that in your intention for this year. What continues to be in collaboration with this, and what does that look like for the future? And so letting that spirit baby communication, synergy, and practice that you're building, whether in conception, whether in pregnancy, whether with loss to, conception, really sit in the authentic heart space, settling into the breath, knowing where your body is. Remember, below the neck, right? It's like really knowing where you exist and how you get to then build your next self-awareness in 2021 with your inner theme, and letting it unravel, letting it continue to be apparent, letting it be available. And I want to usually I feel like I would end the podcast, but I kind of want to maybe bring you into a quiet place right now. I feel like I've created so much different energy, and my intentional energy is those that heart will connect in this space, that listen to this podcast, will be able to kind of create their own inner ripple effect out towards spirit baby energy, so we can do this collectively. And so finding just a moment, and I feel like this is what I kind of do with a lot of my one-on-ones, but also in meditation, also in my series, my Sacred Embryo, Communication Begins a Deeper Journey, does start. And I will take people later, and I do offer bonuses because I want you to have everything. I want you to succeed. I want you to not, I know these amazing women and men that I meet, the babies are lucky and fortunate, and there's so much love, so much connection, and I get to be a part of that, and I see that. And you get to see what those next pieces look like. So find a space now for a moment, closing your eyes and taking about 3 deep breaths, noticing where your whole body is, your spine aligned, relaxed, completely available to yourself now. And after you've taken that last breath, come into that natural inner breathing rhythm, allowing yourself to continue to feel, connecting with your crown, the top of your head, moving awareness down into your body, noticing your jaw, noticing your shoulders, noticing your heart space, noticing your belly, your pelvic floor, your knees, your feet. Noticing the breath in between. You can move slowly with awareness down into your body. And I want you now to bring all your energy of awareness below the neck into your heart space. You can even place your hands at the center of the heart space. Here is your heart. You have a heartbeat. You exist in this powerful electromagnetic field of the heart space, that physical organ. But beyond that physical organ, it pulsates and energizes all of your own consciousness. Some would say is the seat of the soul, the space of freedom, of purity, of grace, of divinity. It is where the deepest connection of spirit baby communication truly begins, in the heart space. Your inner letter that goes out into the ethers of energy around you, it's being heard, felt, and seen. My dearest spirit child, my child of light, I am here. I'm available. I adore you. I know you are meant to be a part of me. I know that we are connected forever. I know that there's so much more that maybe I do not fully understand, but I'm welcoming of it. I continue to listen, to love, and to allow. Thank you, my spirit child. And breathe into the heart space even more, feeling how it ripples through your whole entire being. And in that space, I want you to connect with your spirit baby or babies, your child of light, your son, your daughter, wherever you are on this journey, whether you are on this long fertility journey, whether you've had multiple losses and lost a connection with these baby beings, or whether you've had later loss of stillbirth or into infancy loss in this child you're calling so deeply. Wherever you are, child, soul child, I will say, that encompasses all of those. Your soul child or children coming to you so deeply, holding you, feeling them wrap their arms of love around your heart space. And feeling how it echoes through that your baby being, your child, wants you to know that you are the most amazing, beautiful being ever, and they're so lucky to be in connection and agreement with you. And I want you just to receive that. You're allowed to receive that. And noticing how that energy, baby squeezing you, connecting with you, your child, your children, letting energy run up into your arms, into your hands, through your heart space like blood vessels all pulsating with light, into your throat, into your third eye, into your crown, and then just pouring down into your body, into your belly, into your womb space, settling down into the womb, bringing that electrifying energy of light from heart to womb. And what grace, freedom, love, divinity, that the heart and womb get to carry a same vibrational frequency, and that you are continuing to be open, awakened, and receiving. Noticing the breath. And if there's any words, mantras, prayers, intentions that you would like to share outwardly, internally, then do so. And then when you feel ready, beginning to take your hands from the heart space, placing them gently by your side, beginning to open your eyes in a nice gaze in your environment, orienting yourself back to the space. As you are looking around, feeling where your feet exist, even crunching your toes, feeling the breath, noticing the breath, the feet, and the objects and things around you in the room, maybe looking out the window, moving your head very slowly around, taking in the world that is before you. I'm going to leave you with that in your own quiet, sacred space. Thank you for joining episode 104, Beyond Spirit Baby 101, Reboot, Alignment, and Communication. If you like my podcast, please subscribe, leave reviews, and thank you for joining. Please also check out, I have a journal. It's called Sacred Communication, Spirit Baby Journal, and Spirit Baby Oracle Cards, Answers from Spirit Baby. And you can learn more about my services at spiritbabymedium.com for private one-on-one sessions, online classes, programs, and private VIP retreats, hopefully coming in the end of this year.
This is Spirit Baby Radio. Thank you for joining Kelly in the energy of awareness, love, healing, and soul communication. Please join the next episode at www.soulbabycommunication.com.